Hello, dear friend, and welcome to a special follow-up of a long time in the making. Today, I have invited my friends Astrid and Kitsu back to the cafe to see what they've been up to over the past year. When we last spoke to them, they told us how they had met one another and their relationship, ending with the fact that Astrid planned to move to Kitsu's town across the ocean. Now, we're back to see what has changed and how their lives are going. So with that being said, Astrid, Kitsu, welcome back, guys.
Hello.
So, it's been a while. I hope you're both doing well.
I'm doing pretty well now after I arrived here.
Yeah, it was a bit rough, but we're doing pretty okay now. We've still got some trials upcoming, but for the most part, everything's fallen into place.
Very much so.
And during this follow-up interview, I plan to get into that. It has been 1 year and about 2 or 3 months, give or take, since our last interview. Kitsu, how have you been?
Been doing pretty well. Mostly just been working on helping Astrid come over, for the most part. Just working back and forward with her to make sure everything is all in place before before the big move happens.
The big move. It took so long. Took so long. Way too long for my liking, but I'm here now. And I do not want to recall the amount of everything was great on the plane. It's just a matter of going through the airport and being told one thing when I was told another thing. I had to pull a low-key Karen to figure out how to get the thing. I was promised to do the thing before finally arriving to my destination because I was so fed up.
So, without keeping anyone waiting too long, Astrid, do you care to say where that destination is?
It is in Western Australia, particularly Perth.
So, are you now an Australian resident?
Not yet. Right now, I'm on the work and holiday visa still, but sometime this year, I will be on the partner visa with my lovely fiance. That way, I can become a resident.
Yeah, not only that, but our official wedding, like proper wedding, is going to be on June 21st. So for all the people in America that'll be hearing this, that'll be June 20th.
Yes, because we are technically a day ahead.
No, it'll actually be the 31st. By the time we get married, it'll be the 21st. It'll just be early in the morning.
We're still in the future.
Yes, we are in the future. No one asked me for lotto numbers.
That is absolutely wonderful, and I'm so glad to hear that Astrid was able to arrive. So I heard that it got delayed by a year, though. What's the story with that, guys?
So it was mostly kind of on my end for the sake of there was a lot of family drama. A lot of things were miscommunicated, on top of a lot of tension arose to the point where I actually missed days of work because it got so ridiculous. And I kind of finally put my foot down near the end of last year to say, I need help with this. And if no one can help me with it, then I did not want them involved. And I was just not going to tell them when I was leaving after I got everything together.
It was basically an ultimatum.
So when we did our initial interview, as I understand it, at that time, you had originally planned on already being in Australia when we did the interview.
Yes, that was the original plan. But, life happens and things come up. It's just the things that came up were just a lot of nonsense. Things that could have easily been avoided or easily been returned in one way or another. And the focus was just not on me getting the help I need, per se, and that was frustrating.
So I suppose I want to ask, did that put any damper on the relationship between you two, or do you feel that working together to get over to Australia and get this spousal and visa whole process going has helped bring you two together trying to solve problems?
It definitely brought us closer.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I mean, I'm a very patient person, so honestly, it surprises quite a few people when I tell them that this has been going on for 4 years, going on 5 now, and and yeah, this has basically been a long-term process, and so many people have been like, I wouldn't have lasted that long. I'd be like, well, it takes a certain kind of mindset to be able to handle long-term relationships, especially if you have the end goal of one person moving to the other. But we made it,
Hmm.
so success story.
Well, I also was basically charged of whatever was going on my end because it was mostly my end that was being more affected than his
Mm,
end. To where I was just transparent with not only just him but with his family as well of what's going on, keeping them updated because they're my family too, despite how it
mm.
I'm because my family definitely had a tidbit of like, why are you telling them this? And I'm like, they're going to be your extended family. They have to know what's going on to why certain things are delayed and whatever.
And as I understand it, even after the delays, the first 2 weeks were kind of rough from what I've heard.
Oh yes, it was very rough because I arrived the first day I was completely fine, and then literally like the next day or the day after next, my allergies just hit me hard, and I just didn't know what it was. And then on top of that, my allergies with my immune system down, I got the Rona, and that was a fun week of me of just being miserable. And then he got the Rona afterwards, so we still couldn't go anywhere. And it was just not a grand time for anybody.
Yeah, pretty much a lot of things were basically ground to a halt. We're pretty sure she caught COVID over the plane ride over here, and it just settled in her for a couple of days before it started showing symptoms and making her allergies worse than they should have been. Because I'm willing to bet that having the two together just made everything worse.
And the amount of times I got up in the middle of the night just to soak in a bath, to even open my eyes for eye drops. It was not a fun time. And this like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm doing this, and I'm there for like an hour.
So not quite the fairy tale, hey, I've arrived to see you sort of thing that I'm sure either of you were hoping for.
First day was.
First day definitely was, and then afterwards, life just decided let me just enhance all these things just to make a problem for you for a week.
Yeah, pretty
So let's talk about that first like 2 days. And Kitsu, I want to start with you. You're waiting at the airport, and this woman you've been waiting for years to finally come to Australia and get off the plane arrives. And how are you feeling? What's going through your head? Where are you at emotionally when you see Astrid in the airport?
Well, me and my mum saw the plane pull in, and I just stood up and waited near the exit door, and it was probably about 10 full minutes, as it seemed like every single person on the plane disembarked first before she finally came out. So I was just bouncing on my feet the entire time, uh, trying to tilt my head around the corner to see if she was coming up the ramp without getting in people's way. And eventually she appeared, and she didn't drop everything. She just started walking much faster towards me, and we hugged. It was very emotional because it kind of reminded me of when I disembarked to arrive in America, and she just launched herself at me as soon as I got out of the airport. So it was
I,
kind of similar to that.
I could not get out of the car fast enough. I was literally telling my mother, "You better unlock this door, or I'm going to break this door open." And
Well,
then,
there was none of that this time, thankfully, but
no,
because
I was
no doors to
tired.
break. But yeah, she was tired from this insanely long trip, so it was a lot more muted, but no less warm and comforting and very emotional.
So Astrid, now to you. You just gone through this long plane ride. I'm sure you're a mix of very tired and very excited at the same time. Where are you at from, let's start when the plane touches down.
I was just kind of more, I was more relieved for the fact of, as I said previously, I had to kind of fight with the people because I was promised an escort because it's not only my first time flying, I'm also on the autism spectrum, and I was promised an escort to help me get through immigration, to get me through whatever. So when I finally had to pull a Karen just to make that happen, I was relieved, especially when I was touching down because the moment they said I'm allowed to open my phone up, I was already texting Kit here, be like,
Mhm.
they won't let me off the plane because they decided to put me in the far back just for dramatics effects, I guess. I have no idea. So I was like in the back of the plane waiting for people one by one to file out. I was literally the last one off that plane, essentially.
So I want to interject something here. When this means that earlier when Kit said he was waiting for everyone else to get off the plane and what felt like everyone else, it literally was everyone else
Mhm.
getting off the plane.
Yeah, it really was. It really, really was. It was just the anticipation. Because I kept texting him, I'm like, just, I need, get me off this plane. They need to get me off this plane. And I'm trying to, like, just sit there, be impatient and everything. But at this point, I'm like, I'm so done with flying at this point. I did not want to fly anymore because it was already a 17-hour flight from Texas all the way to Sydney with delays of like a 2 or 3 hour in between, on top of fighting when I land to Sydney, getting an escort, regardless of if I missed the plane or not, because I knew I was going to get a different plane at some point. It was just a lot. And I was just like, get me off, get me off. I'm done with this place. Get me out of here. I just want to go to my home. I want to lay down. I want to do something else that's not plane related.
So then I'm guessing there's not going to be any more plane trips for Astrid anytime soon.
Oh
No,
no.
no.
Nah, she's done.
No, I'm done for now.
She's done for at least a good year or so.
Year is being very generous, my dear.
So Astrid, I want to ask, what is it like having saved up and moved? I mean, was it a year, 2 years of just a lot of self-control? Was it hard to save up? And also, how is the homesickness? Or has it set in yet?
So, in terms of saving up and on my end, it was a little bit of it was difficult, but also not terrible because of the self-control. But of course, as you know, in America, everything is taxed. I had to still make sure, I go to the grocery store to get food, get whatever essentials I need, or if get gas if I need a gas because I'm driving to and from work still, and still basically working with my stepmother, be like, okay, I get paid this much, I'm going to take out this much, and fighting back with her on that of like, where did sort of money go because a bill came up. So a long time, but not too difficult in terms of tracking everything. And I forget the follow-up question. I'm so sorry. My brain just decided it's out of existence.
It is all good. For those that don't know, it's still fairly early in the morning in Australia, and Kitsu and Astrid have been so nice in agreeing to do this interview for what for me is the early evening, but for them is still pretty early.
Mhm.
My follow-up question was, has homesickness kicked in yet? How are you feeling being literally an ocean away from what was previously your home?
So interesting you say that. So when I arrived and they're kind of driving me to their home, which is now my home, it kind the area we are in looks so much like Oklahoma and so much like the Midwest that it's practically as I kept telling them, this is just like a version of what I'm used to seeing because we had a lot of areas to where obviously there was some farmland in between and then the suburban area with your shops are nearby. So the sickness hasn't really affected me too much because everything practically looks the same. It's just some things are just a little bit different. They don't have a Walmart, they have an IGA. They don't have, one another thing, they have a different thing.
There's also the fact that there's a the massive Indian Ocean that is literally probably about half a kilometer away from where we live. So
Yeah.
that constant sea breeze coming off the ocean, salt in the air, was definitely something that was different for Astrid. Also, on
Mhm.
the way back from the airport, we took a lot of back roads to get back to where we were because Mum didn't want to drive across the take the freeway back home. So we were just going through a lot of back roads and stuff like that. So we were going through a lot of farmland, a lot of sort of more country suburb areas that were still part of the main city, but as I said, on the outskirts. So there was that. I think that's part of the reason why she felt like she was still back in America for the most part.
Astrid, are you still getting used to the time change? Has that been an issue, or have the past 2 weeks kind of helped you settle with that?
Strangely enough, I did not really have a lot of jet lag upon arriving here. I was actually doing pretty well. Even Kit was kind of surprised of how well I was handling the jet lag, even through my sickness and my allergies. My folks even said like they're surprised I am still functioning, and I don't know if it's simply because of the anxiety still kicking in, of like new things, new areas, what you're gonna do. You need to because it's daytime here, you can't sleep, it's not the right thing. Or if it's just more the simple fact of I napped in between the very long flight of sleeping like an hour or two, staying up for like another hour and 30 minutes, kind of back and forth like clockwork. That helped.
She also tends to stay awake during the night for at least a couple of hours and then sleep in during the morning. So that probably also was part of the whole jet lag thing, but it was just normal for her.
hmm So nothing
What's
too
it
different.
what's it like having spent so much time basically needing to get an electronic device, be it a phone or a computer, to communicate with each other, and now you wake up and you're like, oh hey, my partner is right there.
It's great. Of course, he gets up like still at 6 o'clock and everything, but it's still great because he'll sometimes come in when I'm waking up like an hour or so later, and it's just like there he is. That's the boy.
Just give her hugs and kisses in the morning, and of course now there's a dog, so I'll also give hugs and kisses to the dog.
Yes.
On that fun note, I hear you guys have a puppy. Tell us about the puppy.
Yes. So we were gonna wait on the puppy like a little bit, but then my anxiety kind of kicked in because after getting over everything, I was like so hell bent on finding something to do. finding a job, finding even if it's just working one day a week at some place down the road. I think it got to the point where I was looking at dogs just to kind of see where everything's at, to where I'm just like I need a dog to help me keep grounded. I need a dog to help me either be motivated to be more focused on what I'm trying to do and everything else. The issue was that it had to be hypoallergenic. So I'm like, okay, I'm limited. I'm very much limited on the doggy. And then we found this boy. And I talked the person down from it being nearly $2,000 to $1,000 and everything. So an expensive boy, but a boy nonetheless. His name is Picasso. And he is a Chinese crested mixed with a Chihuahua. And he's not only any Chinese crested, if y'all know Chinese crested, he's a powder puff Chinese crested, which are really hard to find and tend to be a lot more expensive. But due to the fact he's a Chi-Chi, which are not recognized as a, certain breed of deals, he was much cheaper. And right now he has finally settled and is sleeping on his bed next to me here with his raccoon in his face for whatever reason.
Little raccoon toy that we picked up after we picked up the dog. We went to the nearest pet store that was nearest to my place, and we just got a bunch of things, and also signed up as like a preferred customer thing. So we got this big bag of extra goodies that came with it. So
So
we
he
also,
is set for like a good 3-4 months.
yeah, in terms of food and such. So that's really good because he's still small, so he doesn't eat much, doesn't drink much. But yeah.
Man,
Well,
in this
congratulations.
Yes, it's kind of like an early wedding gift for us, but it's mostly for me to have. So
Mm-hmm. Like we're on the verge of needing to move out soon. This is like the last hurdle that we have as a family, honestly.
Mhm.
After that, as you know, if we find a place soon, then it'll be smooth sailing after we move and get all of our stuff out and into the new place.
Mhm.
We're busy in the process of looking still. But my mum was sort of hoping that Amber would hold off on getting a dog until after we had moved. But the more that she talked to Astrid, and the more that Astrid talked to her, my mum actually relented, realizing how much she actually needed this dog to be at peace until she got a job.
Mhm.
And job came in, like she started getting like 2-3 interview opportunities for doggy daycare places pretty soon
Mhm.
after that. Like
Wait.
almost the very next day after she got the dog. So, as I said, everything's falling into place.
I am curious about something, though, now that
Yes.
you've said all that. The sort of timeline things here. Astrid arrives, comes down sick with allergies, comes down sick with COVID. Kitsu gets COVID. You guys get the dog. Astrid has to start job hunting. Have you guys had any time or any chance yet to actually just, I guess, be a new couple in Australia? Like, have you guys done any couples outings or touristy things or done any exploring yet?
Not
Yes,
yet.
technically.
Yeah, technically we have. It's not been just her and me. It's often been with my folks because they're the ones with the car. I don't drive. So um basically the only car that we have is the family car, which either my stepdad or my mum drives. And we've been going out a couple of times to visit some areas. We were going to go to a national park where we could have a barbecue there, and also pet kangaroos because the kangaroos there are very used to humans. You're just not allowed to feed them. Not allowed to feed them, but you can pet them gently if you want, because they won't react badly. But that had to be cancelled. We'll do that another day. But for the most part, it's just been getting her settled with everything, and then after everything has been settled down, especially after we move, we'll probably start looking at more couple things to do throughout
Mhm.
the city.
But I learned a lot of things when the few outings that I had to where I'm like, why are we going to the mall? I thought we were going to the grocery store. Their grocery stores are in their malls, along with their post office, along with their chemist, which is like their version of like a Walgreens or a CVS in America. And there was even a doctor's office for like general checkups at one of them. And I'm just like, convenient, but weird, but whatever.
Literally just down, like a couple of stalls down from the doctor's office, there's a really nice bakery where we go get hot. Well, Americans would say French fries, but we just call them chips here. So hot chips, some nice bacon and cheese sausage rolls there, and then the very next stall over, you have a supermarket inside the mall. So
It
she was
baffles
So this is
she was
Astrid's culture shock phase.
a little bit.
less
'Cause I'm just
culture
like,
shock and more super curious and oh my god, wow, sort of sort of moments.
yeah, because I also learned through going through even some of these shops and everything. I'm like looking at the price tag and I'm just like, oh, this is so much. And he's just like, and Kit here is explaining to me still that taxes are already included in the price tag. So you know exactly how much you're paying. And you get like tax hardly anything at the very end of when you
Yeah.
finish shopping.
There's literally only one tax, and that's called the GST, General Goods and Services Tax, which is about 10. It's I think it's like capped at some point, but it's usually like 5 or 10% of what the actual cost of the item is. So that's already included in the prices. So when you go, so you can basically just look at a price and do calculations in the aisle on how much you're spending, and then by the time you get to the checkout, you are pretty much spot on exactly how much you're going to be spending, and you don't have to do any last minute calculations at the end. So yeah, in terms of food, um, our taxes are included in the price, and usually they're rounded up to a whole number for the most part.
It sounds like, well, I think you said it best, kid. It sounds like things are falling into place pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so glad. I've had a lot of people ask how you two have been, and I was like, well, the best way is if I just have them tell you themselves. So,
Yes.
so to sum up future plans, or I'm sorry, Astrid, were you about to say something?
Just a side remark. They call their chicken sandwiches chicken burgers. I actually kind of had a fight with Kid a little bit to explain,
Mm-hmm.
be like, if it's not a patty, it is not a burger. It's just a chicken sandwich. And it's just like, it's still a burger.
No, 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 no. Eventually, we did settle on the fact that if it's like, you know, chicken pieces or shredded chicken inside of a bun or something like that, I can agree that it is a chicken sandwich. That's fine. But when I was talking chicken burgers, they're either a patty or they are a big chunk of whole chicken that's just been fried or something like that. And that's still a burger in my eyes.
And I also learned that our hamburgers, because I keep saying we need hamburger meat when I was making pasta for us one time. And he's just like, there's no ham in it. And I'm like, well, we call it hamburger meat where I am from.
And
What
I just
what
say
do
it's
you?
beef. It's just beef mince. That's all it is.
Because I also learned they're hamburgers. They just call them burgers here.
Yeah.
Because if it was a hamburger, they actually put ham on the burger.
Or there's ham within the actual makeup of the patty. Otherwise, it's
Mhm.
just known as a beef burger. Food conversations, love them.
It's just it's the small cultural things, you know. It's an
It's
adjustment, and it's wonderful to hear about.
and it's funny because I even told his mom, like, I don't want to go to like some national landmark or anything like that. I want to know the local foods. I want to know kind of what the local things are. That's what interests me more than going to, at some point, pet the kangaroos, which is still something I want to do. But it's like not on my top priority. My priority it's just learning what is normal here.
Hmm. So foods and not to do any kind of any kind of cultural mistakes and stuff like that. But honestly, Australians are very laid back, extremely laid back. So for the most part, there won't be any kind of accidental things that you can say um, to make mistakes or anything like that.
There
For
are
the
times
most part.
I stop in the food aisle and I'm like, Kit, educate the American for a moment. Just announcing to everyone that hears that I am an American. I am still learning for
Mhm.
me to be a resident. So that way I don't look too much like a fool if I don't understand a thing.
So, as we get near the end of this interview, I have two questions left, and the first one is a bit of a poll, and I'll let Astrid answer first, and then Kit. Okay, if I take the top of a bun and put it on the ground, and ask you guys to take the bottom of a bun and put it on the ground, have we now made an Earth sandwich or an Earth burger?
Hold on.
God.
My headset died for a moment. I'm sorry. All right, it's
Do I,
back.
do I need to repeat the question?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Oh, oh, I'd say sorry to the listeners first.
So sorry. I'm just saying sorry in general. It just decided to be like, I have a question. And then my headset just decided to shut
Oh,
off. And I'm like, I guess I'm not hearing the question.
I now get to repeat the most absurd question I've ever asked on this podcast, and I'm smiling so wide right now. And I'm
Glad
so
someone's enjoying
sorry.
themselves.
All right, Astrid, you're good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. My question is this, and you get to answer first. If I take the top half of a hamburger bun and place it on the ground, and you take the bottom half of a hamburger bun and place it on the ground, have we now made an Earth sandwich or an Earth burger?
An Earth burger. That is my
It?
answer.
I would say an Earth burger as well, sure, honestly.
All right. See, this was actually a meme I found about a week ago. So I had to ask. We are on opposite sides of the planet now, and since the burger sandwich debacle was raised,
Hmm. Too good to pass up, I get it.
Yep.
it'd be a bit crunchy, but I'm sure it'd be delicious.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it would be a bit fishy too because lots of fishes in the ocean, more
It would
water
also
than
be
land.
it would also be dangerously spicy because you got to
Hmm.
go through all that lava, all that hot core.
Very crunchy, so definitely deep fried.
So, deep fried Earth burger coming soon.
Yeah.
All right. So, future plans: apartment and June wedding, and possibly kangaroo petting, right?
Wouldn't
Awesome.
say an apartment, just another house. We're going to be with my folks. because it's just expensive to live on your own right now until things improve with the market. So for now, we're going to be sticking with my folks, which is not bad because my folks treat Astrid very kindly, and that I think that's been the biggest culture shock for her coming over here, compared to what she's used to over there. So, yeah, kangaroo petting definitely that'll be in the near future, and June wedding that's going to be soon. But moving will definitely be around that time as well because we only have until the end of August to move out. So we're hard at work trying to find a new place to live.
Hence why I'm also been so hell-bent in finding a job because I want to be able to contribute.
Well, Astrid, best of luck in your job hunt.
Yes, I have a trial today. So
yeah, she's got like a 5-hour training trial to see how she does at this place. But from what she's told me about this person, they might as well just hire her at this point. So we'll see how it goes, though. You'll tell me tonight.
yes.
Well, obviously, I'm fully behind you, as I'm sure everyone else who listens to this will be. And since the trial period is later today, then by the time I post this, hopefully I can post a note saying you got the job.
Hopefully.
Definitely will let you know.
Well, to cap off this interview, I just want to say, as someone who's been your free company member for a few years now, obviously a friend to you both, I'm just so happy for you guys. Between the last time we did this and now the fact that Astrid's in Australia, the fact that things are going relatively well, some sickness issues aside, and with the wedding coming up in June, congratulations, guys. Really. I'm so glad things are working out.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you both for agreeing to do this follow-up interview.
You're very welcome.
It was much needed for the update. I'm sure the listeners will enjoy.
Absolutely.
I want to keep them hanging on. Oh, has she moved over yet? How's Kit doing? Has he run out of steam? Has he run out of patience yet? Nah.
Yeah.
Everything's happened. Everything's falling into place. Soon to be married, and then the rest of our lives.
Yes.
See how that goes.
So part 2 interview follow-up in another year. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Sure. Give someone give another part another pairing a go. But I don't mind a follow up if the viewers are wanting that.
Anything is possible, and I will not take anything off the table.
Put a poll in.
But with all of that having been said, Kitsu, I hope you have an amazing day. Astrid, I hope you just knock this 5-hour trial out of the park. Thank you both for being here, and may you both have a wonderful day.
You too as well.
You too.